Join us, Alex
and Colleen,
self-proclaimed fake it till you make it experts, as we navigate the highs and lows of being a woman and how the pressure and overwhelm of trying to do it all often leads to feeling like an imposter in our own lives. Join us for this very special live recorded episode with guest Alicia Simms. Alicia opens up about her experiences with imposter syndrome in both her entrepreneurial pursuits and personal life, and how she chooses to push past them.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Colleen.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
2024 is going to be awesome.
It already is.
You're so cheesy.
But we are back. We took a little break for the holidays, and we are back, ready to launch back into our season. And we are starting with our live event recording with Alicia Simms.
That was such a fun night.
It was a fun night.
Yes.
It was, a great chat with Alicia and 30 to 40 of our closest friends.
And we're going to do it again?
We are in March.
Yes.
So stay tuned. We will have more details on that as it gets a little bit closer. But again, another live networking and recording event, which was a ton of fun. If you were here for the first one, you'll know. If not, you should come to the next one.
Absolutely. But in the meantime, we have a little caveat about the upcoming episode.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes.
Yes.
Because we all work on social media, our phones are perpetually full. So the video cut out about 3/4 of the way through. So the audio went throughout, but if you're watching on YouTube, you may notice that about 3/4 of the way through, it's just our logo for the rest of the episode. So don't be alarmed. Still great content.
And just listen to the episode and look at our logo and look at all of the fine details that went into making that.
That's right.
Logo.
Colleen created that logo, and it's a great piece of work. So this is only going to matter if you're on YouTube, but just keep that in mind and continue to give us grace, because we still don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Not a sweet clue. Not a sweet clue. But if you're in your car listening to this episode, or running, or walking your dog, whatever you're doing right now, washing your dishes, we will also say that the sound might not be the exceptional sound that you're used to from us, because, people were in the background and talking and clapping.
Yeah, it was a lively event.
It was lively.
So
so
there might be some muffling, so just keep that in mind as well. But hope you enjoy it, because it was a really great conversation, and it's a great episode. So
sorry. Enjoy. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Colleen.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm nervous.
Can you believe we are doing a live podcast?
I can't even believe we are doing a podcast.
So this is the thing. I mean, we keep on laughing about it. Alex and I, this came out of Carol Coyne is in the audience tonight, and she and a few other people started with the Swell conference. Well, did you start Swell? Did you do Swell?
Yes.
Yes. And Krista. Yes. Swell conference. And, Alex and I went to Swell conference last year. Alicia was there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed a guest, and halfway through when I was interviewing this guest, I was like, holy shit, I'm loving this. I loved interviewing. And I got off stage and Alex went, holy shit, you're really good at this. And
that wasn't your first time, was it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, first time. And then we talked about pulling something together. So I do a lot of the interviewing. Alex does a lot of the comedy in our
just
routine.
here for the comedic relief.
She's here for the comedic relief. And it's been glorious, because also Alex does a lot of the tech stuff that I wouldn't be able to do as a there's a lot of tech behind these podcasts. So
these glasses aren't just for show.
No, smart girl.
Are,
yeah, they're not really just for show, these new glasses.
They're for blue blocking.
Oh, so
I love those.
It's trendy. Anyway,
equally important. Right.
So we're here, and we are really excited this evening to have a whole bunch of people in the audience, but also Alicia Simms. So we're going to go through a few things that Alicia does. First of all, Alicia's from Newfoundland. Yes. Same as me. So we had very similar lives growing up, I guess.
I was just there last week, so the accent's probably a little
thicker. The accent's back. It's back. Alicia is a multi-passionate, award-winning entrepreneur. She's the founder and CEO of Rolling Sea, Tattooery, Truro Buzz Media, which is really taken off and create like Truro Buzz is awesome. She's also with Secret Nova Scotia, which she started during the pandemic. She and her husband Tyson are the co-producers and hosts of Trailer Travels. And she's on Eastlink Community TV, I guess that is it?
Yeah.
And she's just like all the things. So Alicia.
It's so awkward to hear it all read out like that.
Right? Tell us. So let's start with tattoo artist. When did you first start? When did you want to be a tattoo artist? When did you first start? Tell us about that.
When I was in high school, I was always artistic and I have no musical ability or sports ability. So thank God I was creative. I went to art school after university and I started like drawing tattoo stuff, but I feel like it's saying you're going to be a rock star. I didn't actually think it was going to happen. After I finished university, I did a degree at NASCAD here in Nova Scotia. And I met the guy I knew I wanted to learn from back in St. John's. So I spent 2 years begging him to teach me. And then finally one day he's like, all right, if you want it, you're in. And that's how I got started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've been an artist now for how many years?
I've been a tattooer for 16 years in September past.
Wow, 16 years.
It's been a minute.
That's a lot of tattoos.
It's a lot of tattoos.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
tattoos. I reached out to Alicia, of course. You got on my radar when my daughter, who's also with us this evening, and this is her first networking event, Megan Tattoo's by night. Yeah. I should know, but can we edit that?
At my daughter tattoos.
At my daughter tattoos. Yeah. Megan had told me she wanted to be a tattoo artist. And I think it was actually Kara again said, you need to reach out to Alicia because I was kind of freaking out. And I reached out to Alicia.
My mom also freaked out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did not take that well.
No,
She's
really.
good now, but it took a while.
Yeah, it didn't take me too long, but yeah, I freaked out at first. So tattooing in Truro, and people come from all over to get your tattoos. Yeah. I believe we have somebody in the audience this evening who got one this week.
Just recently.
Just like yesterday.
It's like
it was
just
yesterday.
over 24 years
Yeah,
ago.
so I got one yesterday. Yeah. From the tattooing, you fell in love with Truro.
I did. Yeah. I moved there in 2014 to open my own studio. And it was a bit of a leap, but I had a clientele here already because I had worked the conventions here and come and done some guest spots. So I felt comfortable opening a studio here. And of course, the question I always got was like, why Truro?
Right?
And it was
That's a good question.
It 100% is, but my sister moved there. She married a Truro man. They were living in Calgary and they decided to come back east. And every time I went there to visit them, I was like, I really like it here. It's like not far from the city. I mean, you have to appreciate in Newfoundland if you haven't been. If you're in St. John's and you drive 12 hours, you're in Port-aux-Basque, which is like, there's nothing in Port-aux-Basque but the ferry. If you drive 12 hours from Truro, you're in Montreal.
Yeah, you're in Montreal.
Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked, I didn't think I would move so rural because Truro was pretty rural to me at the time, but it was exactly the right place at the time that I moved up here to buy a house. It was less expensive. You're accessible to everything. And yeah, I love Truro. And the more I posted about it on my social medias, people were like, you make Truro look really fun. I'm like, no, Truro is fun. People don't know. There's a lot going on here. Like I moved back right at the time that a lot of other people were moving back and opening businesses like My Home Apparel and Beck and Boosh and Nook and Cranny, and music festivals were happening. And I was just sharing all of these things. And then slowly it went from being a passion project to, oh my God, I think this is a business. Can I do another business? I have no marketing experience. I don't know. But then slowly and surely, semi-painfully, it became a business.
So, and the business being Truro Buzz.
That's right.
And Truro Buzz, how would you describe that?
Ooh, well, Amy was just telling me that she found out about me because I was wearing a bee suit doing a live. So it's weird. Yeah, I think what separates us from a lot of the other kind of those business accounts, because I mean, we're essentially a community aggregator. We're sharing what it's like to live, work, and play in Colchester County, but we have a warm body on the phone well, I assume you're looking on your phone on the account, whereas a lot of other repost accounts don't have that. Like there's no one that you really associate with that account. So we're the people who were doing kind of an ambassador thing where we would do a live for people who weren't comfortable doing lives at their business, or we would be on site promoting an event, or, just doing silly things. So it really has been a lot of fun, and the community really attached to it greatly.
Yeah, because I think of social or as Truro Buzz is very much of a social media.
This year, as we were talking about the business, we have really like trying to narrow in. We are a social media marketing company. Like we have dabbled in a couple of other things. Like we're a little different because we're a business to business, but also a business to consumer, because we have to grow the audience so that we have a business to sell that service to other businesses. So it's a little different on that way, but yeah, no, it is definitely focused on social media marketing.
So then you started Secret Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a secret.
It was a secret. So of course, January 2020 sounded like a really good time to start a tourism business. Yeah, I got approached by another company who had set up a tourism company focused on the northern region of Nova Scotia, where we don't really see a lot of focus from Tourism Nova Scotia. And they, you're already taking people online to these businesses, so why don't you actually take over these tours and take them to these places? And we definitely saw the appeal of kind of scaling that way, but it was definitely a slog over the last 3 years of, the first year we had the pandemic shutdown, the second year we had another pandemic shutdown, and then last year was the first year that we could operate without any kind of pandemic shutdowns. But unfortunately, that company didn't open this year. It was just too hard to fracture myself over that many companies. And the guy that I hired, I wish I had found him in the first year, because he's a retired teacher in our area, Hans, and he's so lovely. And he absolutely loves tourism and he loves taking people on tours, but it just became not sustainable with how much we had to bring in to break even or do better than that. So yeah, this year we did decide to not open that business.
Well, because you're busy, I can understand it,
bit.
because then the next business is what the heck are you doing with Tyson, your husband?
That sounds dirty, Colleen.
That does.
Like that is not.
That's a whole different business.
That's not this podcast.
No,
Not
not
OnlyFans.
other show altogether.
So a little background on that was my husband moved from Alberta down to Nova Scotia. I guess it was, really 2020 was when he moved here, and we ended up getting stuck here in the pandemic. And he moved here full time a year and a half ago because he was still working out west back and forth. And we were really having a hard time trying to merge our lives, because he is an unemotional minimalist and I am a very emotional hoarder. So we started doing videos about how we were trying to mesh our, he has an emotional attachment to nothing. Like nothing. He got rid of his grandmother's blankets. Like he doesn't have photos. I'm like, so we watched Marie Kondo, because he's like, what sparks joy? I'm like, everything sparks joy. I love everything. I'm attached unhealthily to this chocolate they just gave me. So we started making these videos about calling minimalist versus hoarder. And a director from Eastlink who I'd worked with on another project reached out, and he was like, so we have a project greenlit that we need 2 hosts for that we think you'd be good for. And we're like, all right. It's like, we want to put 2 people in an RV. You're going to travel around Nova Scotia and we're going to pay you for it. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. So that's how that started. That was someone else's show, and it didn't continue into a second season. And when it looked like it wasn't going to continue, like we really liked what we were doing. We liked working with the director and he liked doing it. So we pitched our own show, which is Trailer Travels. And we will just finish filming season 2 of that next Sunday. So that's just like 2 months of the year.
But you are living in an airstream.
We are, 25 feet, 183 square feet of living space. You all need to go home and measure that.
Sold her large home.
It was
a pretty good home.
Yeah, it was like 2,300 square feet.
Sold her large home and shoved it all. And listen, the weeks leading up to you getting ready to pack your stuff, Alex and I were laughing about, there was some funny stuff of you trying to hide some clothes in the airstream.
Yeah. Well, I assume he didn't have to bring much.
He has the tiniest closet and everything's hung all neatly. I have shit shoved in every crevice.
It's very much like my house.
Yeah.
Except there's a lot more space.
It's no longer a wine rack. It's where all
Yeah.
pants go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. I got a good lead into it because everyone kept saying, like, how did you get her to do it? It was like, well, we started off with the AirV, which was 24 square feet. And so that was like, okay, this isn't terrible. There's a lot of space in here. I can do this, I think, maybe. So then we started looking at airstreams, which before he met me was his dream to eventually, like, he wanted to live the bachelor life where he was going to buy a trailer, and his trailer, you have to look this up. It is a 16-foot base camp. I can't tell you how many. Yeah, no, stop with that. Stop. No, that thing is so tiny. We got to see one in Calgary when we picked it up. So tiny. The shower is in, like, the toilet is in the shower. There's not a separate bathroom. Like, it's a lot. So that's what he would have gotten. But we decided, obviously, we needed a little bit more than that. So we spent pretty much the better part of a year going through videos, saying what would we need to live, what layout could we work with. And in 2022, they actually came out with a really nice model of the 25-foot that had a separate desk space, which is like we both work from home from time to time. So that would be a good spot. And we decided to bite the bullet and get that. And we would use it for the show and then sell the house and live in it. Because why not?
Because why not?
Yeah, it's so far so good. It's been 6 months. I did have a breakdown yesterday.
Did you?
I did. Yes,
I would think it would be a lot.
well, we're changing the season. So like the summer and spring wasn't so bad because the clothes you're wearing is small. You don't need coats and boots and things. And right now I'm trying to transition seasons. So I have like piles of clothes around where I'm trying to take stuff out and put stuff in because you can't just bring stuff in. There's nowhere to put it. And then I tipped over the dog water bowl twice with my foot. And nothing makes me quite more irate, I learned yesterday, than having wet socks inside twice. So I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm not going to make it a year. I'm not going to make it 2 years. I can't do this. It's like, it's fine. We're going to be in the garage soon. Just it's changing of seasons. It's really stressful. Just relax.
So explain the garage, because on top of this trip, she's building a garage that you're gonna pull the trailer into the garage and live in the trailer in the garage.
That's right. So we can't.
So it's warmer, or so that you
Yeah.
can spread all your shit into the
Both
garage.
of
Yeah.
those things.
Yes.
Both of those things.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can winterize trailers, but not really for our climate that we get here. So we decided that we bought land 2 years ago with the intention to eventually build. But right now we're going to see how long I can make it in the trailer, because he could commit to this for the rest of his natural life. But we're going to live in the trailer in the garage for the winter. And our hope is that by next winter, we're actually going to leave for about 4 months and go live down south in it. We'll see. That's the plan.
That would be fun.
Yeah, well, but we kind of want to see how long we can go mortgage free and have like a really aggressive travel schedule.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so smart, especially right now.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Everything
true.
is in the house
Yeah.
market.
yeah.
Exactly.
One of the ways to combat imposter syndrome is to actually listen to how awesome the people in your life think you are. If you're looking for the perfect gift for a loved one, where you can tell them all of the things that make them special, visit my Drawbridge Creative Etsy shop and purchase a Things We Love About You custom poster. With several styles to choose from, it's a fabulous gift for any milestone birthday, anniversary, retirement, or just because. So that's a little bit about you. Where the heck does the imposter syndrome come into it? Let's talk. When did imposter syndrome first show up for you? Because it seems like from the outside looking at Alicia, it seems like you really got it all together and you're pulling all these businesses.
Well,
out
I
of your
am
hat.
glad it seems
Right?
that way.
So
That's
talk to us. Yeah.
I'm sure I felt it growing up because I wasn't an extroverted person growing up. I was like, bleed into the background, keep your head down and get through kind of high school person. Same with university. I actually just had a chat with someone I went to university with a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about how it's like, well, we didn't really fit in, but we got through and it was good time. But the first time I really remember feeling it was, I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019. I was asked by the Truro Colchester Chamber to do a talk on social media. And I'd only been doing Truro Buzz for a year or two at that point, and it was like, I can't do that. I am not someone to talk about social media at all. I'm throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. I don't know how to do this. But he's like, well, just talk us through what you do. I was like, okay, I really want this experience. I really want this opportunity to network, and I know it'd be good for the business. So I'm going to tell them what I've been doing, what's worked, what hasn't worked. And that's the stance I'm going to take. I'm not an expert. Don't put expert anywhere in there. And that was the first time I really felt like overwhelmingly, I can't do this and I'm not the person to speak on this. but it ended up being the largest business builders breakfast they'd had in the history of the chamber. They had to move it to an auditorium. I almost shit my pants.
Yeah, I get it, because this is the largest live podcast we've ever had because of really,
No.
so it makes sense.
I'm just riding on the coattails of what you've already done.
Right, there you go. I get what you're saying when, when you're asked to speak on a topic. We spoke at Social Media Day
Yep.
this year, myself and Alex, on imposter syndrome. And we get in there and two of us were like, whoa, what are we doing? We're talking like complete imposters having a meltdown partway through the day. Our talk wasn't until the end of the day.
Mhm.
Do you remember how bad it was?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's every time we get together to do this. I feel that same way.
It's like, what are we doing? Give us grace. We suck. Yeah. But yeah, I think that we both were at Michelle Obama this week,
That's right.
and she talked about fear and
Mhm.
pushing through fear, and that on the other side of fear, there's growth. And I think that's what Alex and I are very good at doing. And I
Yeah.
think it's what you're very good at doing as
Absolutely.
well. Yeah.
That
What
is-
did you think when Michelle spoke like that?
Well, I related to it immediately because that is the mantra that gets me through. Like, I feel imposter syndrome every day with everything that I do, from showing up for a tattoo. I'm like, am I going to do a good job on this? Did I do the best? Am I the best person to do this design? From doing podcasts or interviews or anything at all. Like, I always feel it, but I live by feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like with Truro Buzz, I lean hard on humor, like with the bee suits. Like I've dressed up like a luchador and gone out for taco week and all kinds of stuff. But I feel like if I make one person laugh, that's enough for me. I know I'm gonna get people that think it's stupid or like, why are you doing that? But it's the people that laugh or enjoy it that I'm doing it for. And it's never just like, I'm confident in doing this and have no issue. Never. Same like the first, when he said about the TV show, when he contacted us, I was like, can I survive the negative backlash on that if people think I'm not funny, not interesting, they don't like the way I look, they don't like my hair, they don't like my tattoos? Because everybody knows as soon as you put yourself out there, you're unfortunately opening yourself up to negative criticism and everybody's opinion. And I almost said no to that job because I didn't think I had the skin to handle what could happen. And that's the worst part, is we're fearing something that hasn't even happened. We're just afraid that it might, so we don't try.
Yeah. Steph Jolene is in the audience tonight as well. And Steph, you talked about fear as well in her podcast. And I remember every time, you'll have to go back and listen to Steph's podcast. It was so brilliantly said when she talked about fear. And it was, if you don't feel fear, what was it she said?
She said, I can't not do it.
I can't not do it. Yeah. If she,
If I feel fear about it, I know that I can't not
you
do it.
can't not do
Yeah.
it. You have to force yourself to do it if you feel that fear. And I think there's a lot to that. I mean, we can't keep just sliding through work doing the same, or life doing the same old, because it's boring.
Well, I think
You know?
as creatives too, it's like we crave that energy, but also fear it so much. So it's like, I want it so bad. And then it comes and it's like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But it's the only way that we can then grow into other phases and get the confidence to do other creative endeavors. So I think it's sort of that push and pull. that
Yeah,
you're
you
working
have
with.
to find the right comfort zone, because there's some things that you absolutely can't push past. But so often, like, is this a mild discomfort and I'm telling myself a story, or is this really not the right fit for me?
Yeah.
It's like trying to distinguish between those fears, I think.
Yeah.
So what about when you get fear to the point of the panic attack? Do we keep pushing through it at the panic attack, or do we walk away and go, no, we're gonna let our panic attack win? Like what,
So
sometimes I let my panic attack win and like run to the high road. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Too many panic attacks.
this year I had a panic attack while we were filming. Despite the fact that all of my branding and my business is bees, I am deathly afraid of bees. I've never been stung until this year. Actually, I've been stung 3 times this year, but I always feared it. I just like, I can't, if one is buzzing around, I'm gone. I'm run. I will dislocate my shoulder trying to get out of the way. Like, I'm just really afraid of them. And this year we decided to do a beekeeping episode, and I told director, I was like, I don't know if I can do that. So I pep talked myself through. We did 2 different beekeepers, and the first one I got really lucky that it was like a cool day and it was mid-season. So the bees were docile. He was great. I suited up. I was like a solid 10 feet away and I kept getting a little closer. And the camera guy was like, I need you in the shot. I'm like, cool. Well, you give me a list of your fears and then we'll see how that plays out. He didn't like that much. So I got through it okay. And that's fine. But the second time we did it, it was a hot day. It was a couple of weeks later, which is really late in the bee season. Apparently they're a lot more aggressive because there's not as much food for them to get. And I had even a better suit than the first time, but I did not feel good. And as we got closer to hive, there was this like hum. I can't even explain to you that it was just like in me, it was like, danger, don't do it. No, don't do it. So God love my husband, who I completely abandoned at the hive as they started. I got stung on the thumb and I lost it. And I took myself out and they were trying to get me back in. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. And then because it had been an unseasonably hot day, Tyson, my husband, had left the windows open in the truck. And I started to panic that there were going to be bees in there. And because they were following us around, like they were angry and aggressive and it wasn't a good day. And when we got in there and I was closing the window, I don't know what happened. Something in me snapped and I just started to cry and freak. And he was like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do. And then luckily the cast was gone and stuff, but I totally tapped out of that episode and it was really scary. I tried to push beyond my fear boundaries, but it didn't work.
But I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think if it becomes physical, that's a good indicator that maybe it's too much to push past.
If we had done that one first, there would not have been a second one. Though I got lucky on the first one. But yeah, I mean, you have to listen to the signs in, like, if you're going to speak and you really feel violently ill, you shouldn't do it. But there's, start small and work up kind of thing.
That's that's good advice.
Yeah.
Really good advice.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes the imposter syndrome is good? As a creative person, is it always a hindrance?
I feel like I made a note about this because when I saw it in your email, I was like, I didn't think it was until Michelle Obama. And then now I can't remember what I said about that. I mean, I guess I have definitely felt my pattern is I agree to do these things months in advance, think I'll be fine and work up to it. And then you get it out.
I'm
without
like
fail,
this. Hands up, who bails?
without fail.
Yeah.
I am angry talking myself in the car, in the truck before we came going, why did you agree to do this? It's never a good time. You're going to ramble. No one's going to listen or show up. Like I almost always talk myself out of it. But on the other end, once I ease into it, and thank God we're sitting, because if I'm standing at a podium, my knees are shaking every time. I'm like hanging on to it. But then like 10 minutes in, I calm down and I loosen up and I get happy and I enjoy it. And I come out and I'm like, why didn't I want to do that?
Yeah.
But guaranteed for like the solid 15 minutes ahead of going in there, I am talking myself off the ledge of like, why did I agree to do this? All the reasons it's going to go wrong. This is stupid. Stop putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But if you push through those things within your comfort zone, at least somewhat, there is growth on the other side.
It does get a little bit easier too.
Yeah.
Every time. Like I still feel like when I say I'm going to talk, I'm like, why did you say you were going to talk? You hate fucking talking. You hate it. But every time I do it, I do enjoy it and I do feel good. And the next time I do it, it's a little bit easier. And that's what I try to remember. Like it'll be a little bit easier.
It's like
time.
exposure therapy. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you just keep doing it, like, except for bees, that's not exposure therapy at all. But if you keep doing a little bit at a time and just kind of dipping a toe out of your comfort zone, don't go straight to the, Scotia Center theater stage, but it's all about working up to it, I think. But there's never an instance, and I don't think there ever will be an instance where I think I deserve to be here. This is everybody. That's right. They're here to see me.
Yeah, I've never felt like that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Let's talk about networking events, because here we are at a networking event. Networking events typically suck. Like
Yeah.
I often go into a networking event. I kind of look around. I look for like one buddy, or I bring a buddy with me. I find I stay on the outskirts,
I'm calling
back
bullshit on
there.
that.
No,
I'm sorry.
listen, there's people in this room
I'm
that have
sorry.
seen me at networking
Yeah,
events.
exactly. There are people in this room that have seen you at networking events and you kill them. It's bullshit.
It's not bullshit. I don't like networking, although I think I met one of my best friends there, Steph. It's possible, we still don't know, but it's possible we met at a networking event. I'm not sure. But no, I find them so awkward. I don't want to I don't want to walk in by myself. I don't want to be the first person in. I often tag myself to Anita Kirkbride.
Who doesn't?
Right? Who doesn't? Like, Anita, how many years would it be like such and such a networking event? I'll pick you up. Because thank God. Or otherwise, I buy tickets to events and don't go. Because the thought, like, this is different. Tonight is different because I know a lot of people here and because I'm helping to organize it. But like, you saw me at Leading Ladies. We went to Leading Ladies a couple of weeks ago.
I know,
walked
and
in,
you killed it.
I
So
sat
that's why I'm
at,
like,
I
I don't
sat
get
at the bar.
right, but and people flocked around you.
Yeah, but I didn't go out networking. Right?
There.
I know, but I went in, looked around, and I went, I'm sitting over there at that bar. I'm going to the edge. And I sat, and people can come to me. I'm not going out to people.
It doesn't mean you're a bad networker.
Means you're smart. You got
Yeah,
them coming to you. Teach us your secrets.
I feel like what happens is I feel like I talk to the same people that I'll already
Yeah.
know.
I find
And if I had actually walked around and met some people at Leading Ladies, I might have made some collaborations and put some money in my pocket. Instead, I talked to all you guys. I already knew you.
I'm an
Right?
introverted extrovert. 'Cause,
Yes.
like in the right scenario, even social media day, every time I go, I'm gonna get my stack of business cards and my goal it is I'm going to give at least 3 of these out to people I don't know. I gave out 2, maybe I didn't make it to 3 in the 3 years that I've been there because I talk to the people I know and I get
Right.
nervous about making that connection. Same with the networking events. Like Truro is pretty small, right? Like I know almost everybody there, but if I have to walk in alone,
Right.
I will wait outside till I see someone I know go in and just be like,
I know.
hi.
Everybody thinks they're good. Like, everybody's like, oh, they do such a good job.
No, that's a weird tick for me
It's a
too.
weird
I
thing.
get real nervous about walking into places alone.
Yeah, I don't like to walk in alone.
I don't do it. I don't go anywhere unless I'm accompanied by someone. Luckily, I gave birth to the most extroverted human on earth.
He's pretty
So
extroverted.
Since he's been born, I've had this like easy in. Like he'll go with me anywhere.
Nice.
To anyone.
Yeah. I take Megan and then her and I are stuck to each other because we're both a little.
I wish you guys could see the face that she just made.
Oh, yeah. But you've got to find your person. It's
Yeah.
difficult to network and it's difficult to break into rooms of cliques that are already have their people. You know, we have for example, a nice little blogging group. And I think it's got to be really difficult for other people to come into our group sometimes because we all know each other. We tell each other stories.
I
If
lurked for a long
somebody else to
time.
come in, that's tough, right?
Yeah.
Did you lurk for a
I
long
lurked
time?
for a long time before I ever dared make a comment.
Yeah.
And not because I didn't feel I could. I was just like, you guys had such a long history in this group together and like events that I'd never been to. And I was a new person in that group. So I was like, I'm just going to observe.
Yeah, we don't want people to just observe.
I
We
know.
want you
I did eventually
in.
contribute.
We want, like it's,
Mhm.
but I don't know how, that's an imposter syndrome thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we teach ourselves and teach another generation and people around us to like join in. Come, we're okay. We're nice people.
Yeah, I wish we could get to that point where, like last week, I got an award from our chamber. I've been in business it'll be 6 years in November. And I got an award for business innovation from the chamber. And when I was away, when they contacted the office to tell me, and my coworker reached out, she's like, you're getting this award, congratulations. And I was like, was it like a slow business year or like, were there not, like, I immediately started going through all the reasons, like I got this because they are giving it to so many people, or like I started talking myself out of deserving it at all.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
But that was my reaction to it, was like, did I actually deserve this? Or were there not a lot of contender? How did this happen? Did someone vote me in, or did they just
Yeah.
all the reasons why I didn't deserve to get it?
We've talked about that on the podcast as well a few times
Yeah.
about people getting awards. And again, Steph, that was one of the things you were talking about, getting an award for filmmaking and feeling like you don't deserve it, or you're almost sometimes embarrassed by it. It's like, oh gosh, I have this award. I felt like that with whether it was a Coast Award or different blogging awards through the years. And I'm like, oh God, people would be like, oh yeah, you're a Coast Award winner. You're like, you're a little bit embarrassed by it somewhat because you don't want to look like you're patting yourself on the back. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
But
you
we
have
should be.
Yeah, you absolutely should be. And then like, I'm sure we all have friends where it's like, well, I don't do it for the awards. And it's like, well, I don't do it for the awards, but I sure like it if someone gives me one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, great. Yes, I did work hard for that.
I was just happy to be nominated.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm always happy to be nominated, by the way.
100%.
But I'm happier to win, but then I feel weird about winning.
Well, it's just acknowledgement. Like someone seeing outside of your network is like, you're working hard on this. I see what you're doing and you deserve some recognition. Why is that so hard for us to take?
Yeah.
Like just I mean, we hope to be recognized by our peers, I imagine, with what we do.
So this is why I believe, because I think it's so hard for us to pat ourselves on the back and push our own products and businesses and stuff all the time. This is why I so strongly believe in other people in our networks talking about us and pushing us. And you're doing your Follow Fridays right now. And, we used to, lots of people have done Follow Fridays for the years. Through the years, we haven't done them in so long. And it was so nice to see you starting to do Follow Fridays again, to say, hey, take a look at these people and they're doing really cool things. It's awesome. I think to me, that's like women supporting women kind of thing. I know women supporting women. Hey, I used to always hashtag things, women who lift, and found out it was like powerlifting. I always thought it was like about lifting each other up. No, it's a whole powerlifting thing. So
Hashtags
don't use that hashtag.
slippery slope.
Slippery slope. Yeah.
I mean, unless you're into powerlifting.
And then use it. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I believe in, we all have to support one another. And we watched it with this, we're doing this live networking. Man, you guys pumped it out there. Like you shared it out there with all your peeps. And it was fun to see. It was appreciative. Do you feel like a fraud a lot?
Do I think what's
Feel like a fraud? Is that one of your things?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think I get worried about, I don't think I feel like a fraud. I think I get worried about being called a fraud.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say too, because I think that's where the award stuff comes from too, that
Yeah.
once we get there, we feel like it's the fear of judgment from others that basically stops us from doing or saying the things that we want to say, which is unfortunate because it's sort of, you're worried about what that fallback is going to be from other people instead of just sort of doing what you think or know you should be doing.
Yeah. Same with, I see it the most in clothes and fashion. I feel like people who want to wear something or like, oh, it looks so good on you, I could never wear it. The amount of times you hear or say yourself, I could never wear that. It's like, why not?
I love your posts about that. Like I relate to them so much because I love that. And I have definitely done the same thing where I put something on in the morning and made it to like 10 and change.
Yep. 100%.
All the time. So I think that's super relatable. And that is because what are people going to say? Or
Yep.
I'm too old to wear this now. That's a big thing that's going on in my head right now. Like, oh, should I, what are people going to think about me? And it's ridiculous and so annoying. So I love that you voice that.
Yeah.
I say it for myself because I feel it all the time. Like that last post I did, that goddamn shirt. I've put it on so many times, that white shirt, and just not been able to wear it out of the house, the crop shirt.
It's so cute.
And it's just like, I just want it to be 2 inches longer to feel comfortable to wear it. So I like hike my pants up and pull my shirt down and then like try and do this while I'm wearing it, which is not helping. But that is one thing I find super triggering. Like we're so obsessed about how our midsection should look or what you should have to wear certain things. And it's so sad that we deny ourselves a simple thing like wearing something you would love, a color or makeup or lipstick or glasses, and because you're afraid of what people will think. It's
the fear of judgment can really stop you in your tracks, completely shut you down.
Well, and we see people that we follow with larger accounts like posting about it all the time. And I know like as my account grows, I'm like, oh, how close to that am I getting of people just like randomly hating you just because. And while you want to succeed and grow and get new opportunities, you're also very cognizant of like what's the tipping scale when you bring out all of the hate. Like when I grew my hair out gray in, oh my God, I don't know, 2017 or 2018 or something, I've never gotten so many positive and negative comments on my hair as I went gray. Like it was bananas how many people chimed in of like, you look old or you should dye your hair or I don't know, all kinds of crap. But it's just funny what people.
So this is such a thing because we're all working in social media. It's making imposter syndrome, in my opinion, it's making imposter syndrome worse because we are comparing ourselves to other people. We are listening to the comments that people are saying about us and taking it to heart. You know, you can have 25 nice comments and then that one shitty comment is going to ruin your day. I mean, I had a day last week, my entire day was ruined because of some shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't be. It shouldn't so do you think social media where does it fall in with imposter syndrome? Is it making it worse? Has it always been there? What do we think?
I think I think it's always been there, but it was with magazines. Like we would buy magazines and compare ourselves. People would look at people on TV, but now it's like readily in your bedroom on your phone while you're like getting ready, going to sleep or whatever like that. But I think people need to really pay attention and curate their feeds more, because social media is what you want it to be. Like, I love social media. I friggin' love it. I've made such awesome connections with people in this room that I never would have made without social media. I follow people that inspire me on a daily basis, whether it's, you know, branding or fashion or writing or design or food or whatever. Like
You love your food.
Oh, I love food so much. I know. Facebook, actually, when we started going into the back end and it would tell you what like your interests were, my number one interest over everything was eating. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That's
But
great.
I think more people need to curate their feeds to show things. Like, I learned what a hate follow was a year or so ago, and I'm like, hey,
Why
would you ever follow something that brings you anxiety or rage or like, I just don't get it. And I have no time for it in my feed. Like, I have things that lift me up, inspire me, make me think. Nothing that brings me down, and not like a toxic positivity, live with your head in the ground kind of thing. But if you have stuff on your feed that makes you feel shitty, stop following it. And like naming I'm afraid what they will think. One of the best things I ever heard was, who is they? Name the they in your head that you think is going to judge you if you wear this thing or do this activity or show up in this way. And if that's someone that shouldn't be in your life or on your social feed, like, gone. And that's an easier said than done when it's like a family member or someone close to you, but you can actually choose who you follow on social media. And that's an incredible power that people should really take advantage of. If you're following someone that doesn't make you feel good or brings you down, stop doing it immediately. Look for things that lift you up and inspire you. And
if you're afraid you're gonna offend, you can just mute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you can also delete family members if you need to.
Yeah,
like
that's a good one.
Because for some people, they have a family member in there that's hard on their head at times. So mute them. Like, get them out of there. Yeah, it is true. I was following for a while there. I love sarcasm, and I was following a lot of funny, what I thought really funny, sarcastic accounts, but then realized I was being very negative because I was starting my day every day with these negative accounts. So I knocked a bunch of them out of there. And
or
threw in
the
some
self-deprecating humor. See that
it was
often.
a bit too much.
Yeah.
So I put some positive stuff in there to counterbalance it. So,
you know, one thing I feel like we don't talk about enough is imposter syndrome in relationships.
Yeah, let's talk about it with personal life. Yeah,
like I've had some really terrible relationships. Like I have joy fear now that I have my husband, because I've had such terrible relationships in the past. I'm like, well, I'm not going to keep you. Something's going to happen. Like, there's no way this works out as well as it does. But we're mostly a room full of women. Thanks for coming. But I feel like I've had a lot of problems in my relationships with men who weren't confident. And it wasn't until the end of my last relationship before my husband that I was in counseling, and he was like, well, maybe you've never had a healthy relationship. And it was like, oh my God, maybe I never have had a healthy relationship, and not realizing that, you know, your partner shouldn't want to bring you down to a level they're comfortable with. They shouldn't be trying to make you smaller. They shouldn't be upset if you make more money or have more shine, or like, I was always trying to make myself smaller to make a relationship work. And I just thought that was how it had to be for so long, until I finally hit a point. It was like, you know what? I would rather be fucking alone for the rest of my life than have to deal with this. And that's what I ended it and walked away. And I know that's a really delicate scale for a lot of people, but I feel like imposter syndrome really plays such a problem in relationships that we don't talk about enough, because it is delicate.
Too, you don't often realize it until you are in a healthy relationship, how unhealthy the relationships and how much you changed yourself to be in those relationships. I certainly didn't. Like, that was really eye-opening to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I've chosen to stay single for years. Everybody keeps saying to me, you should put yourself, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm glad you brought that up though.
Yeah,
because
that's not
it's
something we've actually talked about.
No,
a
we
lot on the
haven't.
podcast.
It's
really
hard,
important.
yeah, it's really triggering for people. And I think about blogging about it every now and then, but I'm so afraid of, like, it's just such a sensitive subject and you never know, like, I just want someone to take to heart. It's like, if you're not happy, think about why that is. I'm not saying leave, like maybe work on it, whatever, but I feel if you, like, after that relationship, that last one, I was like, I am never again going to make myself feel small to make someone else feel better. I never should have to do that in the first place, and I'm not going to do it again. And it's a lot of people don't get there.
Because I think in many ways that the partner is making you feel that way, but you're also adding to it by allowing it to happen and continue. And then you get in front of the mirror in the morning and you're saying shitty things
Oh,
to
yeah.
yourself, or like negative self-talk. We're awful to ourselves. We would never ever say things to a friend that we say, like I'll get up in front of the mirror and I'll look at myself, and who stands in front of the mirror and all of a sudden, like this summer, I put on a bathing suit, stood in front of the mirror and went, "Ugh," and I stuck my belly out and I stuck my, just that. Stand
Yeah.
tall and wear the bathing suit. Like
Yeah.
nobody's going to be walking. Like you don't. It's awful what we do to ourselves and what we think and what we say.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
but I don't know how to stop it.
Mm.
And I guess that's why
One thought at a time,
one thought at
Colleen.
a time,
One thought at
yeah,
a time.
yeah.
Stuff like, I like the color of my hair.
Yeah.
I like the color that looks on me. This makes my legs look longer. Like, just little things, small changes, because that's what I've been working on, especially with bathing suit. Why do they have to be such a damn trigger?
I
Bathing
know.
suits. It's like the scourge of all the clothes you could ever wear. Well, I guess
Yeah.
it's the most vulnerable and the most out you're going to be. But yeah, it's just one little thing at a time. It's like, everybody is a good body, and I deserve to be happy and wear this swimsuit and go to that spa or this beach. And it's just one little comment at a time.
Yeah, it's very true that you are judging yourself way more than
Oh.
anybody else is
Mhm.
judging you on that beach.
Yep.
People don't really care about you, to be honest with you.
No,
Like this is
no.
the other thing. We get wrapped up in our lives or in our thoughts. Nobody really gives a shit. They're
Yeah.
they're wrapped up in their own thoughts. They're thinking about how crappy they look in a bathing suit. They're not thinking about you
Yeah.
in yours, so
And it's interesting if you talk to guys about that and the triggers that they feel with beaches for such different reasons than us. I did a talk a while ago. We did a men's body image panel, and it's on YouTube. And I was in awe of what those guys talked about. From like 3 of them were balding and 2 of them had like luscious hair, and they're just like, fuck you, dude. Like it's just going to having hair on your body and not feeling good about that. Like, it was really interesting to hear that side open up and the issues that they have, which aren't the same as our specific ones, but they have the same problems in different ways. But they don't talk about it as much. Media doesn't talk about it as much.
Are you looking to up your social media game? Social media can be intimidating and overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. At Every Day on Branding, we truly believe that every day is an opportunity to showcase your brand through authentic and aligned social media strategy and content. Whether you're looking for done-for-you social management or monthly strategy sessions, the team at Every Day on Branding can help you reach your ideal audience in a way that feels aligned and drives conversion. If you'd like to have the Imposter Sisters come into your business and help you and your team get comfortable creating social media content, ask us about our new Keen to Screen program, a value-packed social media training for anyone that is looking to up their social media presence, either as a solopreneur or to empower their team to be impactful brand ambassadors.
what are your tips for pushing through imposter syndrome? So one of them obviously is, the one step at a time and just tell
Yep.
yourself whatever, but imposter syndrome in a regular life. Like if you've got a client coming in and you don't think you're good enough to do their tattoo, what are you saying to yourself? So I want to ask you about, because tattooing is very interesting to me. Okay. And I wonder about this with Megan as well. I often wonder, man, you're putting permanent stuff on people's bodies. That has to be a little bit nerve-wracking
It is, yeah.
as a creative person to do that.
Yep. And
So
there's
when
so
you're
many.
really nervous about a tattoo, let's say you're pushing yourself out, into a new style or something, how do you push past that?
Tattooing is harder because there's so many things out of your control. It's not just this one thing. It's how well is that person going to sit? How well is their skin going to take it? How well is the stencil on? Like there's just so many variables. So that is a harder one. If I'm trying something ambitious or something different, there's a lot of like, okay, like you're really just talking yourself the same thing, one small step at a time. You're doing a line at a time. You're doing shading. You've done all the prep work. You've done, I mean, I never hand bomb anything on there. I don't know if you do, but no, that's like if people who draw the design right on the body with no stencil. No, I need to draw it at least 5 times to know that I've tried it in every configuration to have the best possible one for that person or that body part. But there's still so many variables where once you put it on the body, it's like, oh, that doesn't sit like I thought it would, or there's a weird bend, or now I need to turn it. And it's just one step at a time and making sure you're doing your due diligence. Don't just put it on once, look at it, go. It's like stand back, look at it. Know you considered everything for tattooing anyway, because that's permanent. Once it's on there, it's on there. And that's a super fun medium. So yeah, it's a hard career for sure. But as far as like imposter syndrome every day, it is exactly that. Like just one little step at a time. For me, pushing past like publishing a blog or putting out a post, and there are many posts that have never made it up, and there's lots of drafts in there because I just can't push myself to do it at that point. Maybe I will get there, but I think if I get one person who tells me that they relate to it, or it helped them wear those pants, or just one person felt good about something because of it, that's good enough for me. And that can take 9 comments that suck, and I'll cry about those, but still I find the negative ones are easier to get over when I stop and look at, they're almost always from a fake account. Or if it's not a fake account, it's just some rando that found me on a hashtag, and it's like, I mean, yeah, that sucks and I don't feel good about it, but I get over it way faster now than I did, because you think of, where's that coming from? And they always attack your appearance. Like it's never about your content. I like to tell people, like, think about the intent of what you're doing or saying. Is this comment going to educate someone? Like maybe they said something and they were wrong. Like they actually didn't know better. So you're, well, actually it's more like this, or this is the case, but it's not. It's attacking your appearance almost always because they just want to spew hate. And what are you going to say? You're not going to change their mind. You're not going to make them go, oh, sorry. Like, it's just not it. So why waste your time doing that? But that took a lot of years to get to this point, to say, like, to be able to look at that account and know they're just spewing hate for no reason. They're not a follower of yours. They're not someone that's ever going to contribute meaningfully. I'm there for the one person that tells me that they liked it.
I'll actually start commenting now. I usually just look at them and like them.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Do it for the one person.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's more.
You really put yourself out there in your newsletter last week. You were having a really bad week and you decided to let everybody know, I'm having a really shitty time right now.
Yeah, my mom called and she's like, I was like, okay, you could have called and talked to me about it. Like, calm down. Yeah.
It was really important for people. It's important for people to see that you're not always shiny and bright and awesome, like that you struggle. It's important for all of us.
I think normalizing that, because you had shared another post from the love guy who I love too.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is really important for people to see that it's not always great, and that there are bad days or bad weeks or bad months. And
bad years, 2023, I'm right.
And then, but also being able to see people come out of those periods gives you hope that, everyone goes through it, and everyone goes through the shit and comes back out of it a little bit different, a little bit better probably. But it's important to know that even the people that you think have it 100% together are not always having it 100% together, especially when it comes to social media, where it's all basically the highlight reel of people's lives. So yeah, I think it's really important to highlight that. And I really enjoyed that newsletter too.
Yeah, I did too.
Thanks, guys.
Who are your hype girls?
I mean, my mom is really a hype girl, which is funny because we had a real rough period for a long time. I was always a little different. And when, I don't know how you broke to your mom that you were going to be a tattooer, but when I finished my 4-year degree that they paid for in graphic design, and I was like, Mom, I want a tattoo. And they did not take that well. In fact, I also pitched it to CBC and did a radio story on it, and she did not enjoy that either. But yeah, we had a rocky relationship for a while, but now we're in a really good place, and she is 100% one of my hype girls. And I have some really good girlfriends that are the same. Some are business owners, some aren't, but we have a really good chat. I have excellent team at work that like just I couldn't do any of what I do without. Like, it's not a one person show. It's almost never a one person show. And then like the group of you guys, like I had no idea what I was missing until I got into this blog group and then eventually confident enough to contribute. But yeah, I'm really lucky that I have a lot of inspiring people around me, and everybody should. Like, if you don't have people in your life that are lifting you up and encouraging you, like, look for them. They're out there. We're here. They're probably in this room. They're definitely in this room.
Serving up hot brews, refreshing cold drinks, lots of fresh baked goodies, and delicious lunch options. Visit the Mellow Mug in the heart of Larry Utech for dine-in, takeout, or drive-through service. Their spacious cafe offers a casual and inviting vibe that's perfect for everything from enjoying a good book, hanging with friends, or meeting a colleague. The Mellow Mug is your neighborhood spot for great coffee and delicious eats and sweets. Okay, so one of the things that we get everybody to do is tell us what kind of an imposter they are.
I couldn't fit both.
You couldn't fit. So you are a superhuman and
Perfectionist.
Superhuman and perfectionist.
I feel like I'm a hybrid of the both. Like, none of them really 100% hit on how I feel I am, but those two, I felt I had the most qualities in those two.
That's a crappy combination.
Like, preach.
Yeah. So superhuman.
Right?
Yeah, superhuman measures competence based on how many roles they can both juggle and excel in. Falling short in any role as a manager, team member, parent, partner, friend, volunteer, all evoke shame, or they make you feel bad because you feel you should be able to handle it all perfectly and easily. So you have that in 3 different jobs. Plus, she's a perfectionist. Perfectionist's primary focus is on how something is done. This includes how the work is conducted and how it turns out. One minor flaw in an otherwise stellar performance, 99 out of 100 equals failure.
Oh no, I'd be stoked if I got a 99. I'd be stoked if I hit anywhere above like 70.
I know.
Yeah, right.
I'm good with that average.
Yeah, exactly.
But so a little bit of perfectionist, a whole lot of superhuman. Yeah, that's a tough combination because you're trying to do all the things and inevitably you're gonna drop balls.
Yeah, exactly. I have learned to have to control the word vomit I want to come out when people say, I don't know how you do well. It's like, well, I actually don't. This is an awful lot of unhealthy coping. So I work a lot because my relationships are terrible and I cope with that by working more, and then it just happens to work out. So yeah, it's
when people say that though, how do you do it all? Do you feel like they're looking at you a little judgy, or are they in awe?
I feel like, I mean, I've always taken it as in awe. It could have been judgy, but I automatically want to correct them and go, no, my relationship is garbage. I'm working to cope. I work like 18-hour days. One of my businesses kind of isn't doing well. And, I don't see friends ever. So like, it's like the realism is like, there's always something that suffers. Like no one is excelling at everything all the time. And I never want to put out that picture.
You're a person that loves quotes. Tell us some of the quotes do you have a favorite quote, a favorite mantra, or a favorite quote that you use?
What I said earlier was feel the fear and do it anyways. If there was ever anything I lived by, it was definitely that. But as I was reading last night, I came across a couple. One was like courage versus confidence. Courage is something you choose, where confidence is something you earn. And confidence in yourself is built through acts of everyday courage. And how much I kept seeing those things linked together. One was by Amy Porterfield and one was by Mel Robbins.
Oh, they're both so
100%. Yeah, just gem droppers.
Yeah.
But courage and confidence go hand in hand. And so many times do people say, like, I don't know how you have the confidence to do that. It's like, I never thought of myself as a confident person, really. I want the reward at the end of that, of making someone laugh, of like, I'll put on the costume because it makes the video better. It drives the message home and people are going to enjoy it. So while it might seem I am worried that I'm going to come across as silly, I'm willing to do it because I know there's people out there that will laugh and see that video in a way they wouldn't have seen it before. Speed round.
This is a really fun speed round because we have questions from the audience. We asked everybody to submit some questions and we have quite a few in here. All right. Oh, this is a great one. Do you think your name suits you and what would you change it to?
I used to hate my name. because you know what? I don't really know why. There was never another Alicia until I was like in junior high. No one ever spelled it or said it. And somewhere along the way, I stopped caring, and I couldn't even pinpoint to where. It was definitely after high school where I stopped caring, because everything matters in high school. But yeah, no, I don't know. My mom said that she had wanted to name me Maria, but my aunt came in the room and was like, what about Alicia? And then that's what it ended up being.
Best Halloween costume you've ever had.
Oh, I can tell you the worst. But I won't get into that. Last year, we did a whole 5 weeks leading up to Halloween as bee-themed costumes for Truro Buzz. We did Bee Arthur.
Love it.
We did a couple of boobies where we were ghost with bee things. The FBI that we did. And there's another one I can't remember. Oh, we were the honeymooners, because I accidentally bought the bee costumes that I bought have giant fake butts on the back, which I somehow missed on my Amazon order. But yes, those were the 4. Those are probably one of my favorites. Halloween costumes.
What is your favorite season?
I do love summer, or I loved summer pre-climate change when it's like 45 degrees out. But yeah, there's never enough summer. There's never enough beach days. I love the fall too, because I love that trend. I love fall clothes, like the coats and the sweaters and the hats and the boots. So maybe a hybrid between where it's summer, it's still not like hot enough to kill you, but you're not in sweaters quite yet.
Favorite chocolate bar?
Oh, I could sooner pick a favorite star in the sky. Favorite chocolate bar. You know, I always love a Mr. Good bar. I will go straight to the freak lunchbox to get one of those.
Really?
Yeah. Chocolate and peanuts. Does anyone remember Nelson Chunks? Like from, oh yeah, they were like 25 cents, and it was just a chunk of chocolate with peanuts in it. Man, those were good days.
Tea or coffee?
I was a hardcore tea drinker up to my 30s, and then somewhere I transitioned to coffee, and now I can just hook it to my veins. Yeah,
Yeah,
hard
same.
coffee. I do appreciate tea, but I'm definitely on team coffee now.
Normally we just do 5, but we're doing them all.
Oh, I'm
Doing
sorry.
them all. If you could travel and do what you want for a living, would you?
I am working on that right now. And this morning I actually sat down. 2023 has just been a goddamn shit show for me. It's just been one crazy event after the other where I haven't been focused or had goals. And this morning I sat down and set actual goals with dates attached to them. And our hope is that by next October, we will be leaving in the airstream to be gone for 4 months over the winter to just travel. And what that's going to look like is what we now have to work out for the next 6 months. So we keep saying Arizona is where we want to get, where we go other places, I don't know, but that's what that looks like right now.
Best character on Friends?
Like, I'm like, who I relate to, or the best on. Oh, that's hard because they're all so different. I love Monica because she's just nuts. And I watch Cougar Town now because it's hilarious. And if you love Friends and haven't watched Cougar Town, it's friggin' hilarious. But I also really like Phoebe. Somewhere between Monica and Phoebe.
Last one. Most naughty body part you have tattooed?
We all consider different things
What
naughty.
you have tattooed. It's what you've tattooed on somebody else.
Oh,
Yeah.
I totally heard that wrong. Oh, thank God. That's so much better. No, that was not
question.
That was not the question.
2-part.
A friend I went to high school with, I did a little bit of writing on her inner thigh, which was wildly uncomfortable for both of us. And lucky for you, thigh bands aren't really a thing now because that was not a good time either. Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, we get requests, but I don't take them.
Alicia, I am forever blown away by all the wonderful things you do. And you are such a supportive woman in the blogging, the social media community. So I have to thank you for that. And I've loved talking to you.
Oh,
It's
man.
just a treat.
You guys are a treat. And I'm so glad
Thank
you
you.
do this and that I could be a part of it. And thanks for having me. It was lovely.
So great.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Imposter Sisters. Please remember, we're not doctors or mental health experts. If you're looking for mental health guidance, please see our show notes for local resources. We'd like to thank our location sponsor, the Mellow Mug, located at 64 Delridge Lane, for donating this amazing space for us to have these important chats and for supplying us with drinks and goodies. Please give them a follow and make sure to stop in to see this beautiful spot for yourself. Until next time, keep your head high and we will see you next Tuesday.